Anytime.
I can go?
Yeah.
So today, me and Kimo, we did the Starlingear documentary in Japan. I was initially just supposed to, escort Kimo around and translate with all the artists. But turned out we saw some amazing fucked up shit. We've been to Nakayama, the Blade Hidetoshi's atelier down in Kawasaki. Saw him carving pens, sharpen blades. Then we went all the way up to Saitama. So Mr. Takeuchi, master engraver, pounding those Starlingear skulls, inlaying the gold. It was a badass day. Hope you guys enjoyed the film. Starlingear rocks forever. Boom.
The only true way to have a sustainable economy is to have people that work with their hands. There is no sustainable economy with people that just push buttons. It ain't gonna work. I might keep that, man. That fucking thing looks bitchin'. I definitely don't consider myself a jeweler. I was never trained to make jewelry. I just picked it up and just started making some cool shit. I just wanted to make stuff that I thought was cool for me and my buddies or whatever, but I just know how to get from point A to point B in kind of a different and cool way than somebody else. The reason I started collaborating with other artists in the first place was because as you travel and meet artists and people that do their thing, in Los Angeles, I built up such a network of really killer artists and creators and people that are, in my opinion, top of their game in what they do, that I definitely wanted some of that, man. I wanted to get us all together, and I've always had this, it's like a fascination with Fabergé, just the collaborative nature of Fabergé, how he would bring in enamelers or engravers or just incredible designers and people that did their thing and kind of complement what his ideas were. The whole thing, it just makes it stronger. It's really important to me that people don't think that I do everything. I want to give credit where credit is due. I work with some incredible people that deserve every bit of credit that they get. I met Hide Nakayama through some really, really good friends of mine. Dai Inoue and his father, super cool guys, but Dai's father was a knife collector, and he showed me a knife. I flipped out, who made this? He said, oh, let's go meet my friend Hide. So we went over to this, he was working at the oldest shop in Tokyo at the time. The day I met Hide, I started buying knives immediately.
あとはそのナイフショップに勤めてる時にも自分のナイフっていうか作品は作ってたんですけど、でナイフショーに出る、2度目のニューヨークのナイフショー作品準備してる時にお店にリックと新井さんが遊びに来て、初めてその時にリックに会って、で僕はこういうナイフを作っているっていう話をリックにしたら、僕リックのことよく知らなかったんですけど、写真見た時点でそれ俺が買うニューヨークのショー出すなえと思って、で実際リックが本気で欲しくてもう先にお金を送ってきて、いやこれナイフ欲しい、いや分かったけどこれ、安く出しても$2500するんだよ OK って言って、本当かなと思ったら家帰ったら突然お金が送られてきて、あ本当に欲しいんだ、それがスタートですよねびっくりしました。でそれからもう新しいものできるたんびにちょこちょこ日本に来た時に見に来てくれて、でも10年ぐらいかな、良い関係が続いてますけど、はい、20年ちょっと前に、すごい欲しいカスタムナイフがあって、それアメリカに買いに行ったんですよ。日本でなかなか買えなくて。で、
アメリカまで行ったんですか？
で買いに行ってアメリカの骨董屋で値付けを見たんですよ。
アメリカのどこ？
アンティークショップで。
アンティークショップで値付けを見た。
でそれまで値付けっていうのを知らなくて、で日本に帰ってから値付けのことを調べてやってみたいなと思って作り始めて、
何で作ったんですか？
最初はプラスチックのブロックみたいなもので材料も何も分かんなくて、それとナイフはナイフでナイフショップに勤めてる時に出入りしてたナイフメーカーの人が遊びに来ないって言って遊びに行って作ってるうちにだんだん自分で本格的に作るようになって。
どこのナイフ屋さんで働いてたんですか？
日本橋のキアですね。
販売員として？
販売員販売員とあと研ぎ師で
ブレードを研がして、あと営業みたいなセールスね。
結構動物じゃないのもやってはいるんですけど、ただナイフの方とかはなんて言うんだろう、もうすごく彫刻は自由に考えていて、ただその中でやってみたいことっていうのがこの材質を、これ硬い木なんで石のような音がするんですけど、この硬い材質を柔らかく見せる表現をしたいとか、いろんな生命感を表現したい、柔らかさを表現したい、年数が経った朽ちた感じを表現したいとか、そういうもうその時々なんだけど、そういう発想があって、特にナイフみたいに無機質なものには命があるものを合わせたいっていうのが。
そしたら柔らかくなりますからね。
そうですね。
高くなりますよね。
でそんな中でなんだろう、やっぱりカエルとかヘビとか猫とか、そういうのが多いのかな。アナグマとかアルマジロみたいにあまりにマニアックなものを作っても分かってもらえないっていうのもあるんですけどね。
けどタコとか、
はい、
ね、猿とか、
はい、タコは好きです。
タコはね、
この動きが。で猿も最近作り始めてからはすごくものを考える猿、力強い猿、穏やかな猿、すごい表情が出せるなっていうのがあって、猿は今結構好きですね。
When I saw Hide's pens for the first time, they were just regular action pens. Then he started getting more sophisticated with it, and I think I have every evolution of the pens up to just crazy complicated mechanisms that are they're just beyond, you know, they're just from the mind of Hide.
でまずもうこれ普通の棒をあれで切ってチュイーンって切って、それでこれで、削ってよいしょっとネジを切って、こういうのでネジを切ってで、穴を開けて、まあ削ったのがこのペンのこのトップのパーツのこの部分、これが今削ったところですね。ここからこんな風にこうやって削って作ってます。真面目にフライスで平面出しをして刻みを入れて、またフライスで測定してここをカットして、これでカットが入って、あとは窓を開ければボルトアクションのベースにで、芯が入ってこういうふうに動く、こういうことですね。
どれぐらい1日何時間ぐらいここにいますか？
今1日8時間ぐらいですかね。
あ、じゃあ全然普通に営業ね、ちゃんとした時間にね、
普段は
働きます。
今朝早いんですよ。朝7時ぐらいにこっちに来て、で3時とか4時に上がって。
なるほど。まあ家族ファミリーなんで、ね。
そうそうそう、子供がまだちっちゃいんで。はい。
いいですね。けど奥さんにいつも作品見せたいよね。
あ、一応
ね、はい、納品する前、ちょっとまだ奥さんに見せたい。
彫刻とかだったらまだいいんですけども、こういうのってもう特にこれなんかはこれってこのぐらいの金額で出そうと思うんだけど高いかなって言ったら相談したら高いも安いも何がいいのかさっぱり分かりませんって言われてまあそんなもんですよね。はい、ありがとうございます。
Gregg, initially I admired the boxes that he made, the hammering, the nails. That's what really kind of set Gregg's stuff apart and showed that he was a true leather craftsman. I mean, I've seen people imitate it, but they've never done it to the tolerances and the tight. I mean, if you take those boxes and you slide them apart or slide them together, they're almost airtight. Like they, you know, it takes a second for that suction to be able to open them. Other guys that try to make them, they're just so janky. They don't have the years of experience and of leather work that Gregg does. It's the quality that makes the difference, you know, just like so many things. You know, he's been doing it for so long that you can't fuck with that, you know, experience.
I actually started in high school, and I graduated in 1966, and I started taking belts apart, and I bought my first hide of leather, and started making accessories and wearable art, and I came to Hollywood thinking I was going to be a photographer, but I was shown all the leather that was being done here, like on Melrose and whatever, and basically my thought was, I did that stuff 30 years ago and I did it better. So I figured maybe people are right. I should stick to something I know. You know, things that I've learned over time, I mean, there's no way you can learn from a book or something like that. You can learn things from a book, but unless you get your hands on it and do it, I mean, some of the things that I do, I mean, they're simple to me, but they're only simple because I've dealt with the experimentations that and I don't do things in an orthodox manner. I basically come up with my own procedures on things, you know, whether it's the gluing or the dyeing or the different layers of coloring and clear coats and buffing them out and getting different patinas on it. It's almost like a sculpture. I mean, it's not an automatic. And I mean, sometimes you can follow the same procedure, and if it's slightly a different leather, it's not gonna come out the same every time. Working with alligator and stuff like that, I mean, sometimes it's so hard on my hands. I mean, most people don't know it, but I mean, June of 2011, I had a stroke. I guess you would say it was a mild one, but it was not mild to me. But I still have issues with my hand and the movement, and especially with the alligators because it's so tough. But I mean, be honest with you, the leather work that I do, that's my rehab, and without it, I probably wouldn't have done well, you know. And so I'm happy to say that even though I'm not doing the same stuff I did 30, 40 years ago, I'm doing just as innovative as stuff, and I like doing it. Rick is out carving new stuff every day, and just being around that stuff, it keeps me motivated. Makes you want to get up and do something new. I think people don't understand what goes into leather products. I mean, some people, they think, well, leather is all the same, but the quality of a leather product, it's different. I mean, it's just like an auto. I mean, there's a difference between a Pinto and a Mercedes. You get what you pay for, and if you want something that lasts and there's quality into it, and then you got to buy something that's got a good name to it. I mean, sometimes the name doesn't mean anything because the quality still isn't there. But you don't just throw the stuff into a machine and it spits it out, because I mean, all the steps, if you skip any of the steps, it's not going to come out. This is a very unique technique and item. I mean, you're not going to find this anyplace. Either you like it or you don't. But I mean, nonetheless, it's something that's totally unique and takes days of time to do it, and it takes a skill. It's hard to believe, but I've been doing leather almost 50 years, and I can't think of doing anything else. I mean, it's hard to imagine, but some people have never done anything in their life that they've loved doing. I do something that I really love doing, and I'm very grateful for it. The people that I make the products for, that's my satisfaction. Seeing how they respond to what I do, and I know that I'm not the best in the world, but I'm as good as most people out there, and I will continue doing it because it's what I know and what I like.
Yeah, this guitar is one of my favorite pieces I've ever done. Just the fact that the collaboration between Rick and myself, this is the first guitar that we ever did together, and having his expertise and his brilliance in what he does combined with this design, which is my most popular guitar design that I have, in one piece just is such a sentimental thing to me. You know, Rick's one of my closest friends, and to have these pieces that created his career into a piece that created my career is just, it's just really, really nice piece, man. I really, really love the fact that we collaborated on this. First guitar that I ever built was in about 1992, and I'd bought a guitar body and started carving faces into it. And my local music store had never seen anything like it, and you know there was nothing like it on the market. So they suggested that I get it in the hands of some known player. So I had a contact to Steve Vai, and ended up sending him the guitar, and he called me back a couple weeks later and said he absolutely loved it. So that was the start of it, and then instead of buying guitar bodies, I ended up just buying planks of wood and gluing them together, and started building just guitar bodies. And Alice in Chains bought a couple, and then Living Colour, and then Korn bought a couple, and it just kept on and on and on. And finally, a Japanese company came along and bought 10 guitars, which was more than my year's salary, when I was selling steel at the time and working for a steel company. And I decided to, you know, it was more than what I was making per year, so I decided to jump ship and leave the corporate world and start building guitars for a living. And that was in 1996, and I never looked back. I mean, you've got these old airplane gauges that I find in a aircraft scrap yard, and I'll pull them out of the housings and I'll put them in and you know, use the lighting effects, and then you have the slickster soldered right inside of there. Up here you have the S gears inlaid to the ebony fretboard, and here my trademark logo with the gears and the slicksters, and it's just a neat piece, you know, and it plays, it's a completely functional piece of art. The thing which just blows me away about Rick is the fact that, you know, he's primarily a jeweler and an artist, and he has, you know, he's a guy that would have a custom guitar built for him. You know, I mean, who else does that?
God, man, McSwain has been a real inspiration for me. I knew immediately, even though I'm not a guitar player, I wanted to design a couple of guitars and do something really cool with McSwain. And then once we really started working together, I saw that his talents aren't just, they don't just lie within making guitars. I think he's a very talented artist and creator, and I'm super fucking happy to work with him. I have the utmost regard for what he does, and I'm super happy that he decided to roll up to Portland here, and I think we're going to be collaborating a hell of a lot more now that we're under the same roof.
This is called snake wood, and because of the grain pattern of it, it looks like snake skin. This is Japanese persimmon wood, so that's going to make a nice fretboard, has really nice resonance. And then this crazy stuff is Indonesian palm wood. This was all basically a gift from Rick to inspire me to build some crazy stuff, and I cannot wait to see what comes out of these things. The thing about collaboration is you come up with some other idea from another artist that you would never have thought of yourself. And the combination of the two is what makes it a greater piece. I love using things that I've found, like old cans and wood and things that have a story. I feel like when you take these old pieces and they have this energy of their own that you put into this art piece, it creates something that you can't find and something you just pull off the shelf. There's a lot more that goes into these things as custom art, more so than just a guitar, than people understand. You know, one of my favorite things about building a piece is seeing it come to completion, from just a raw piece of wood or raw piece of metal into actually plugging it in and then handing it over to the client. And you get these huge rock stars and you see them on stage playing these things, and it's just, there's nothing better. There's no better feeling than that.
Five-tenths is fine. Threads are good. We want those to be, we got anno plating going on there, so. Bam. So what we got here is our Evo Deco Tornos, Swiss-made machine. It's what turns all of our lens light parts. I think we're the only ones on the West Coast to actually have this machine up and running in our shop. 10-axis autonomous mill. We're doing this stuff right now. 2 spindles working all at the same time. Tornos is used by some big companies like Rolex, Medtronics. I mean, it's state-of-the-art machinery, and holds some of the tightest tolerances. The copper line we did for Starlingear, for Rick, you know, we're all made on this machine. This machine really enables us to keep our crew tight-knit like we do. We're not a huge operation. We don't have 50 guys here.
Did you tighten it up?
I didn't tighten it up. It was off by, you know, 10, like 5/10. But just to give you a heads up.
I met the lens light guys at the gathering in Vegas, and I saw where, you know, they not only lived close in North Hollywood at the time, just right up the street. They're manufacturing everything in the States, which I really liked. I immediately knew that I wanted to collaborate, but it took us a while to get it together to where we knew what exactly we can collaborate on.
I met Rick about 7 years ago at a trade show in Las Vegas. It was actually our first trade show and first time bringing this product to the marketplace, seeing how our product would be received by the consumers, see if they'd be you know, interested in our new approach to the flashlight world and design and concept. I noticed one of the guys that I had pitched was actually our neighbor, which happened to be Starlingear, and Rick in particular. Ended up talking, hitting it off, and going over different collaborative ideas and seeing how we can put both minds to work and get a, you know, super cool new new edge to the flashlight world in a collaborative design. That eventually led to our first copper light release, which was great. I mean, we did a whole custom solid billet copper run of flashlights with a soldered on custom bead perfectly molded to the actual diameter of the flashlight, creating a combination of jewelry and functionality, basically creating a functional art piece. As this company's evolved, you know, from the start, from that first gathering, first trade show we did where we met Rick, it's been great. I mean, our government contracts have racked up. We've been coming out with new designs. We most recently released a 3-cell design with an 850 lumen output. Some of the features that make our light unique and different than everyone else is, first and foremost, our lens system. Essentially, we're stacking 2 magnifying glasses on top of each other, which is enabling us to culminate all that light and gather all the light from the LED instead of bouncing it off of a reflector, and in that process, losing efficiency. Some of the features that we've added over the years: crenulated strike bezel, our Type 3 hard anno finish, along with other surface finishes that we've done. Another cool feature of this particular light, the Mini here, is the dowel ring clip. It's just extremely robust, doesn't scratch everything up, completely reversible if you want to reverse it, clip it onto the brim of your hat. Great memory, never bends out and just gets stuck in that position like a titanium or steel clip would, just returns right to position. Just another one of the many features of this light that makes this one of our best-selling lights on the market today.
Basically, all the parts on this machine right now are being prepped for SHOT Show. We have SHOT Show coming up in a couple weeks. So this machine's been running 24/7 for the last week and a half now, and just cranking out parts. Basically, it takes us 7 minutes to run this part complete. Drops it off after 7 minutes and we've got a complete part, moves on to the next process. In some cases, we've got 2 gang plates working at the same time, so we've got like 3 tools working all simultaneously to help increase and make the runtime more efficient so we can get more parts off. All of our lights hand assembled here in shop. We've got it running through 3 assemblers and then onto a QC department. And this is our assembly room. We've got each of our stations here. You know, everything's in production right now, so we've got a lot of assembly going on, put together by hand, every part.
We use high impact hardened glass lenses. Things bulletproof, won't break, lifetime warranty, all of our stuff. The key to Lenslight's been the aspheric lens system and our ability to adjust that focus creates a more efficient flashlight system. And as LED technology has progressed, we've been able to progress along that curve line as well. This has become the most efficient flashlight on the market. Not only is it the most efficient flashlight, but we also manufacture everything in-house in our North Hollywood facility, all American made, from the internal components all the way to the shell. Even our surface finishes are done here in California. We do everything, all of our machining, all of our design, from SolidWorks all the way to the Gibbs programming to the actual making of the flashlight. Everything in this facility is monitored from design all the way to production, and we hold a very tight tolerance on our QC as well. From the time we started, you know, nearly 7 years ago when we met Rick, to where we've come today, I mean, we've been, you know, trying to evolve the flashlight game and technology in the flashlight world as best we can. What we have coming out 5 years from now, I can't tell you. All I know is our team is extremely happy to be here and extremely happy to be able to provide our customers with what we believe to be the best flashlight on the market today.
Right, here we go. Yeah, you know, it's like 88, 89, I met Rick at the FM station. That was it. I saw one of his pieces, a skull that was actually done with the epoxy. And it was the original one that he had done. And it was kind of like a really old school look. And I said, hey man, like, you should think about putting this out there and making some money on this. And he kind of laughed and he said, yeah, you know, and then, I don't know, I just think that idea clicked and it was on. There it was.
This jewelry subculture, it's crazy, man. They either love or hate what you do, man. But I mean, there's enough people that love it to keep a pretty good-sized boat afloat in terms of me, and there's, you know, other brands and stuff that sell. In Japan, it's just a silver kind of jewelry subculture over there. Or here, you know, here a lot of it's the knife subculture, collectible knives and stuff. It's a crazy scene, man. It's a cool scene.
Starling is my family name, my original birth name, given at birth. My grandfather's name and my father's name.
I always loved his name, and I wanted to honor his friendship and his name, and it's been passed down from 3 generations, and I just love that name.
I'm out on the road one day and we're riding around, and all like Rick calls me. He's like, I come in with the name. I'm like, all right, what are you thinking? What do you think? We're gonna call it Starlingear. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, we're gonna call it Starlingear. I'm like, what?
We started with gear shifters. Originally it was Starlingear shifters, and dropped that and just Starlingear.
Starlingear 1G. He's like, Starlingear 1G. I said, all right, break, done. All right, roger that. Let's get it rolling.
I couldn't have named the company after someone better, because not only is he a good dude, but he is a force of nature, that guy.
When you hear it, the definition of Starling is man with no bounds. So, apply it to Starlingear, a company with no bounds. The Starlingear Idea Factory never closes.
1994, 93, 94 is when I did the first version of the Slickster. My goal was never to do jewelry. I never set out to do jewelry. I just kind of fell into that from being around it for so long. Then the Japanese approached me to do something, you know, with the shifters that I had, so I just went for it, you know.
After Rick meets the Japanese in Vegas, he realizes he's got to have another hand. He can't do the production on his own. The volume will be overwhelming. And then Jade is there.
I worked at a machine shop and I did some custom machine work for this buddy of mine who had a Harley. And he paid me for the work, and then he gave me this skull ring as a tip, and it was one of Rick's rings. It was the Gunner, and I didn't really know anything about Starlingear, and I researched, and I found on eBay, I found a bracelet with the same, you know, skull motif, and listed as a Starlingear bracelet for 160 bucks, which at the time I didn't know any better, so I bought it.
Jade thought that he had bought a Starlingear piece from some place, but he actually bought a knockoff.
As soon as I got it in my hand, I'm like, man, this doesn't look right. This has got to be fake. So I met Rick and talked to him for a couple minutes, and after that I said, hey, look, I'm kind of embarrassed, but I got this bracelet. I bought it online. I thought I was getting a great deal. Turns out I'm pretty sure it's fake, and I don't even think he had to touch it. He took one look at it and he was like, yeah, it's a knockoff out of Taiwan or wherever. So he asked me, how much did you pay for it? And I said it was 160 bucks, and he takes the bracelet and he goes, okay, you have a $160 credit with me whenever you want it. So from right then I know, okay, this is a good dude.
So Jade would come around the shop.
And I told him, I said, look, you need a full-time employee. You cannot keep doing this.
At that time, it was just Chemo and I assembling shit on the living room floor and doing what we could do. Jade started coming around and kind of helping out, and then it just evolved into him working for me for Starlingear.
Finally, we had one conversation. He slept on it that night, called me the next morning and said, all right, you can start working for me. And so that was December of 2003.
It's good, man. We work good together. He's He's a good general. He is the general of Starlingear.
So we're involved in this online forum, this online community. Rather, it's worldwide. The Usual Suspect Network, and so when we first started doing the beads, they were the first guys to see it, and it started to gather momentum that way. It's hard to see the depth and appreciate the feel and just the solid piece unless it's in your hands. When you touch it, you really get a better appreciation for it. We do them in small runs. We fit them in when we can, cast some heads here and some hats there, and we can't take orders on them because we don't know what's going to come out and when we can get it. We just can't make them fast enough, and we unfortunately just can't take orders for them because we just can't keep up with the production on them. So we're fortunate to be so well received that way, which is kind of cool as well. But it is exciting to see it evolve and to know where that particular part of the company started and where it's evolved to now, from one small single part, one metal bead, to 2-part beads and mixed metals, and now we just recently did a bead that is 5 parts. While it is challenging to put those things together and solder them and not have them fall apart in mid-torch, it really is cool to see the final product and to see the next evolution of where he's going with some of this stuff. Golden.
This is a Hackmore I made for a friend. The braiding here is 64 strands here in the middle to here. This is one piece. The first you start on this, the long one is 48 strands here all the way to here. To make the 48 strands, it took me 18 hours to make this part. And to make this one, the small one, take me 12 hours to do it. 64 and 48 strands.
I met Ish through Jade shortly after I met Jade, actually, before he worked for me. When I met Ish, his braiding's just so sick. He was of that level that I wanted to work with, that you could tell he was doing it since he was a kid. I was so impressed by his work that I knew I wanted to work with him immediately.
I'm braiding for 33 years. I started when I was 11. I don't want to go to school when I was a kid, so my father sent me to a shop. And for 1 year, I do only bracelets and small things made out of 4 strands. So the next year, I learned how to do 6 strands, then 12, 16, 18, 20, 24 strands, and now my biggest braiding I do is 120 strands. So I love this job.
There's a certain style of braiding. It's big down in Mexico and South America. It seems like, you know, they start working when they're young, and man, they can braid the shit out of some leather. It's fucking unbelievable.
Well, I came here in 1992. I came here to Los Angeles, and I worked for a friend here in Riverside for 8 years. Then I put my own shop, and I met Jade and a leather store, and
I think it's 2000 that time, and we start work together in bracelets. I remember the first one, he don't really like it because I made it like a different kind of braiding, not the one he likes. So we worked for 1 year, and then he started making little pictures on a paper, and showing what kind of bracelet he want, what kind of necklace or something. So we started working just with a piece of paper and a small picture, and then I started work together with Rick. I made Rick in, I think, 2003, and we worked together for more than 14 years.
The styles of braids, the thickness, the thin, like the guy's got fingers like fucking sausages, but he can braid the tiniest little petite braid. It's nuts.
I'm happy to work for these guys. So good people, good friends, especially. I'm happy to go to Japan this year.
It was kind of funny to watch Ish get prepared to go to Japan. He was genuinely nervous. Like Ish he's like a burly looking dude, you don't peg him for being like nervous about stuff, but when I finally asked Jade, I was like, well, what the hell is he so nervous about? Then he says, oh, he's either never been on a plane or he's only been on a plane one other time or something. It was the flying that was making him nervous, which was kind of funny.
My second time I'd be in a plane. So I'm happy and nervous, but I'm happy to go. And I hope I make good friends over there and do a good job for people.
Just to see Ish in Japan and really get into it, and to see how the Japanese customers, studied him perform his craft, and he was braiding there live, and people, he had genuine fans, that were just like tripping out on what he was doing, but it was kind of cool because they got to see why I became so fascinated with Ish, because to watch him is just crazy. He does that insane braiding so fast. You'll be hard pressed to find anyone better at braiding than Ish.
People love my job, so I'm happy to do it.
This machine calls overlock, and it's to clean all the little threads inside. That way they're not hanging or in your way. People think that this stuff is made like the way it's made in China, but this is more complicated. Every of these pieces is made like handmade. The detail is much better than what they make in China or other places. That's why Rick, he doesn't stand like for cheap product or nothing like that. He likes like real nice quality and detailed stuff, because it's a lot of detail on it. So it takes so much time to make them. You have to do it like real careful, make sure everything is clean and done well. That's why it takes too much time to make each one. Well, I've been doing leather since I was 17 years old. I like to create like things, you know, make new stuff. So I kind of like that job, so I keep just doing it until the current age. So one day I met this friend and he introduced me to Rick, and we started working together making like a new jacket. That was like 5 years ago, probably more. And we've been working since then, and different kind of stuff, jackets. He's a real standing guy. I like to work with him.
Any kind of clothing project with leather and stuff that I have, all that stuff goes through Roberto. He's, I love his attention to detail, his sewing, just the quality. He's never let me down. You know, we've had to dial things in, and then once we've got it dialed in, he's always on top of it, and he always puts the little touches that matter. He's a good guy to work with.
These all the patterns I've been working over the years. You see every pattern is a different style. This, some more days, and it's been going great. It's like a new design that he come out with. We about to start closing it, the panels, and after that we gonna assembling the lining. I don't know how long more it's gonna take, but it's coming real nice, and I think it's a good design though. Gotta make notches for the center of the collar, that way it's just balanced. I don't know how long it's gonna take more, but it's the way he likes that stuff. It's gotta be like real detailing though. That's why I'm taking my time doing it. Cause it's gonna be like kind of one of a kind jacket. Gotta use a made in USA tag. This jacket is the same style, but it's in a different color. You can see how good it looks. It's like old vintage, looking like it's already been used, but it's brand new. So you can tell how much work is on it though. This is how the finished product looks like when it's done. It's a nice jacket, huh? We've been working for a while together. He always comes with some different ideas of stuff. So you learn more tricks and this. You can never finish learning. So that's good for work.
Custom culture scene, it's classic Americana meets, you know, the rockabilly meets hot rod scene.
Custom culture is based of car culture. you know, raw and custom. Hot rod and custom car. Custom culture is so fucking cool culture. We love it.
I met the Japanese stripers in Dana Point in like probably 2002, 2003, somewhere around there. Those guys were just doing some fucking incredible stuff, and I had never seen or known that the Japanese were doing that.
2002 October, I was walking around to the show because I wanted to take a picture for the car show. So I found Ric's booth. What the hell? This is fucking so cool, you know, booth. One crazy, fucking cool shift knob and ring, and he was walking around that show. And he came to our booth. So I had a Makoto, Mr. G, and a couple Japanese pinstriper to my booth. So he was freaked out. What the hell? This is so cool pinstriping world. Oh, you guys pinstriper. Oh, I didn't know that. He said, hey. He was, you know, so much exciting. So I have a big, you know, candy machine, 1950s, you know, design. So I want to get you guys pinstriping for my candy machine.
I thought it'd be a perfect way to bring, you know, those guys into my world and kind of show them what I do, and I could be introduced to their world. And it ended up working out really well. You know, that's how I met Nash and Mr. G and Makoto. Mr. G and Makoto were at that show. I had these old candy machines restored, like from the 1930s, these ones were. I had two candy machines, two red candy machines. I think Mr. G did one and Makoto did the other one.
He had a gumball machine too, you know. So he wants to get the pinstriping for the gumball machine too. That was first time met to Ric.
Nash he's a rare dude, man. That guy, he loved the hot rod custom culture scene so much that he went to a country that he didn't speak the language and learned the language as he's navigating the whole custom culture scene.
I'm coming first time to the States 1991 alone, just hobby. And then 1992, I was started my own business, Detroit Jam. And in 1999, I was started for my magazine, Burnett magazine, 1999. So right now is 15 years, 2014.
If you want like the epicenter of custom culture in Japan is the Nash. He's been a real big help to me with Starlingear, bringing the custom culture scene and the Starlingear scene together. And I think him and I have worked real good together in merging the two. Once you've met Nash, you don't ever forget Nash, the Nash. He's a one-off, man. We were having a pinstripe party at my house one time, and this is what changed the whole complexion of the relationship between Starlingear and the pinstripers. Was I had these black silver slickster rings, and we'd been doing this black coating. We were messing around with black coating and black diamonds and stuff, and I had these two plain black coated slicksters, and I pulled them out and I gave one to Mr. G and one to Makoto, and I said, hey, can you guys stripe this small? And they were like, yeah, we'll try. And they did these pinstripe rings. Nash took a picture of those rings, put them on his blog, and then my Japanese customers and the people that worked at my showroom over there saw the blog and freaked out, and then they wanted their rings pinstriped or necklaces or whatever it was. It has become a part of the Starlingear line in Japan is pinstriped stuff, pinstripe rings, pendants, you name it, jackets and wallets and shit, man. I mean, it's just been, it's pretty cool to see where those two rings started. It just planted a seed and it grew up into this big tree. But Makoto and Mr. G are the only ones that I have do all the jewelry. if I had to choose one, I couldn't. You know, that's why I choose them both. That's why I always have them both come out and stripe stuff, because they both have their styles, but they're so sick. Like that's why they're featured in books and magazines and all over the world. You know, their skills are sought after in Europe, in Japan, in the United States. You know, they're just monsters, man. They're just super talented. I love working with them, you know.
もともと車やバイクが好きで、その中でも特にカリフォルニアのモーターカルチャーに、興味を持って、ピンストライプを知ることになったんですけども、ピンストライプによってその車やバイクが、すごい引き立って見える、そういう印象を受けて、やり始めました。
初めて僕はリックのジュエリーにピンストライプを入れてくれと言われた時に、ジュエリーにピンストライプを入れたこともなかったことだったので、とても楽しい仕事が来たなと、それと一緒にすごく光栄なことだなと感激したのを思い出します。
指輪にピンストライプを入れるっていうのも、斬新な新しい考えだなと思いました。僕が初めてリックと会ったのは2002年のオートアートショーっていうカーショーとアートショーのミックスされたイベントです。そこで、確かガンボールマシンにピンストライプを描いてくれと言われて、で、描かせてもらいました。そしてスターリンギアのリングにピンストライプを描いてほしいって言われて、リングにピンストライプ入れるなんて斬新な新しい考えだなと思いました。リングっていうのは非常に小さいものなので、当然それに入れるピンストライプも非常に細かくなります。その小さいリングの中にもそのリングをさらに引き立てるようなデザインを常に考えて、ピンストライプを描いています。レタリングやピンストライプに興味を持って、始めてから、25年になります。
僕は趣味で、始めてからになりますけど、ピンストライプを始めて23年ほどになります。ピンストライプっていうのはやっぱり、車、バイクだったりにっていうのが一番かっこいいとは思ってるんですけども、それからいろんなものに最近では描くようになって、それぞれに、ピンストライプを入れることによっていろんな表情が出るというか、ものによって表情が変わるっていうのが楽しくて、ピンストライプの醍醐味かなと最近は思ってます。
やっぱり自分がデザインして、描いたピンストライプによって、そういった車やバイクが、かっこよくなる、そういうことを、生きがいに、描いています。
Starlingear designer Ric loves custom culture. Of course, we love so much custom culture. So don't be shy. Enjoy for the custom culture whole your life. Period.
Most people here in the States, I think not so much in Japan, but in the States, a lot of people don't know I paint. Because I haven't made my living from painting, although I used to paint a lot more than I do now, but I probably love painting just as much, or if not more, than sculpting, but it's kind of funny, like how you can you know, like, I mean, these are skulls, but I do like blues players and all these other things that have nothing to do with skulls. And people don't really know that side of my work. So it's kind of a trip for people to wrap their head around the fact that I do more than just, you know, design little silver shiny skulls. If I paint on a more regular basis, then I really get in the groove, you know, of painting, and they come out much, you know, I start getting way more depth. But I think sculpting has helped my painting a lot, just because I want to pull it out. So there's more depth. You can get more depth if you sculpt, I think, and then paint. I don't know, at least that's the way I feel, for me.
Growing up, I always got to watch my dad in the garage or our studio just making these killer, insane glass sculptures. And it wasn't until I got out of high school and I started seeing other people making pipes that I kind of saw a niche where all of my friends all of a sudden wanted something I could make out of glass. So that was back in 96, 97, and the pipe world back then was incredibly small from where it is today. So I got on that bandwagon and haven't had a job since, haven't looked back, completely supported myself off blowing glass, making marbles since 97, and don't plan on looking back. It's just getting better and better day by day.
Garrett, he obviously came from super talented stock, and I knew that he would come through for me with whatever I needed, and has. He's been a real valuable asset, you know, real valuable for the collaborations he's done, and he's always looking to improve. He's always looking to do new kind of things with the marbles and new shapes and colors, and just really bitching, you know, he's just real passionate. That's what I dig. You know, above all, working with other passionate people is, it's the best, you know. You can't, there's no replacing passion.
So I'd say when I first met Rick had to be back in the late 80s, I'd say, maybe early 90s. He was a friend of my older sister's, and I heard he was airbrushing at the time. He was airbrushing clothes and hats and stuff at the mall, I believe. And I had a remote control car that I needed painting. So he hooked me up way back then and painted my little car for me. It's a killer paint job, and I think we've been friends ever since then. Throughout my life, he was always quite an inspiration. So every few years he would stop through the studio and check out the glass that my parents were making. 'Cause both my parents were glass blowers at the time too. Him and my dad became pretty good friends over the years, and we kept in touch. We started making some pipes with some very interesting designs in them that were pretty innovative at the time and nobody had really seen. One of the times when Rick came through and was checking out our work, kind of hit him, you know, hey, can you take my design and fabricate it into the glass like you're doing with these other ones, and maybe put it into a marble instead of a pipe? And so we gave it a shot, and the rest is history from there. It's just been an ongoing process of refining the technique and and making them look as cool as they can possibly look, and keeping the new designs coming.
Originally, I just wanted the marbles to fill up an old gumball machine. I wasn't thinking of selling them like pendants, but everyone that came into the showroom wanted a marble. But then there was this one customer in particular. Kimo and I are sitting there, and I'd given her a marble, and she wanted more. And I said, "Well, they're really expensive. You don't want to buy one. They're really expensive." And I said, "They're like $120 or something, $110 or I don't know." I said something dumb, and she's like, "I'll take 10 of them." I almost fell over.
Every time there's a new design, you almost have to rework the way we make the marble from the ground up, because everyone has its little tips and tricks you got to do to make it come out looking right. But other than that, we've probably been making the marbles since, I'd say, the early 2000s, if not the late 90s, was when we kind of started in on that endeavor, and been doing them ever since. Turns out the technique that we were using was how you actually vaporize gold and silver onto a specific temperature of glass, and it condensates onto the glass and actually forms a layer of 24 karat gold and or silver, or both of them at the same time. You can mix them to get different colors. It was pretty innovative at the time. There's some people doing it now, but not too many still, because trying to control gold smoke it's almost impossible. You know, the range of colors you can get from just a microsecond of more smoke or less smoke, and it completely changes the whole outcome. It's also very, very temperature dependent. You know, just a little too hot or a little too cold and the whole thing falls apart. So I think that's one thing that keeps us on top of this game with these particular stamps. It's a very hard thing to replicate.
I'm always trying to think of something new that we could do with them, and he's always trying to think of something new. And you know, we got some new ideas cooking. But man, the fucking marbles are cool. Who doesn't like a marble?
I gotta say, out of all the things I make, the marbles are by far and always have been my favorite, because I never know what's gonna show up in the package from the UPS truck or the FedEx man. He brings me this little bag of gems, and all of a sudden I see the next 6 months or year of my life laid out right there on the table of all these killer new skulls, faces. What are we doing now? I think it's a baboon or a monkey. The things are just always incredible. You never know what you're gonna get. So it keeps it exciting, keeps it fun. It's always challenging too. It's not just the same thing over and over again, which I get caught doing in my other world. So the marbles are definitely where it's at for me.
One day Hide was at my showroom. I think we had probably done a project at this point, maybe a project or two, I don't really remember, but he had this Rolex on, and this Rolex was, I could tell it was hand engraved, I mean, or engraved, like custom. I flipped out, I grabbed it, I was like, who in the hell did this Rolex? And and he told me about Takeuchi, but he also told me that Takeuchi has a 2-year waiting list.
最初は中山君が紹介してくれたのね、リックもそれから、ビヨンクールの社長新井さんもね、それからで最初はただ会って食事をしてたんですけど、そのうち今度、掘ってくれって話になって、でいやこれリックのものは掘る必要ないよと、もうそれでもう作品十分だからと、だから私が手入れたらおかしくなるからということで、最初は断ってたの、だけどどうしてもリュックがやってほしいって言うから、それで最初はシルバーだったのかな、シルバーリングかなんか掘ったのかな、でそれを掘ってリュックが気に入ってくれて、で今度象眼もできるよって話になったら、でシルバーには象眼できないから、だから今度じゃあステンレスで作るから象眼してくれ、で今度ステンレスでスカルを作るようになる。最初は不安でした。本当にそれでリックとそのコラボができるかどうかで、リックが自分の彫ったものに対してどういうふうな評価するかって、でもリックは何にも言わなかった、あいいっつってくれた。でホッとした。
それでホッとした。
ホッとした。
で今やってる。
だから自分が起こしたデザインっていうか、もう自分はイラストを起こさないから、そのまま直にインスピレーションで彫っていっちゃうから、そしたらリックはそれでも、大丈夫って。
直接も。
もう全部こうしてくれああしてくれっていうことは一切言わない。何も言わない。これにとにかくあんたのものを証言してくれ。
任せて、
はい。
竹内さんのインスピレーションで、作品を作ってください。
はい、そうです。
Everyone I collaborate with, I give minimal or no instruction as to what I want. With Takeuchi, I don't think I've ever given him any direction. I just say, just do something killer. And he always comes through. When I do rings for shows, I do probably 90% of those rings my size, because I have it in my mind that most likely I will be keeping this. But it doesn't seem to go that way. They seem to always sell.
ただ自分は自分のなんていうんですか、その証言をしてるだけだから、このスカルだったらこういうふうなものがいいんじゃないかとか、思って仕事はさせてもらってますけどね、証言はさせてもらってますけど、それ以上は何もわからない。だからその時だから、毎年そのリックも持ってくるトランクションのためとかいろんなものは全部作品は常にちょっと変えてきてるから、それを見てこっちもインスピレーションで仕事は変えていくっていうことはしてますけどね。
合わせて、
努力はしてますけど、その時の見た感じでね、だけどそれは評価は私じゃないから、私は目いっぱい仕事してる。
アーティストとしてはすごく働きやすいですよね。
はい、そうです。
Like most things with Starlingear, like 99% of it, I just do stuff for me, and then suddenly people see it and flip out and want that. So it started a whole, it's kind of like the pinstripers, it started just a whole another section of Starlingear, which is all Takeuchi engraved stuff. And the reason I like Takeuchi so much is because he hand engraves. It's all hand tapped. There's no machine involved, so pretty impressive.
イングレーブとかいつから始めましたか？
何年からだろう。ちょっと待ってね。1949年生まれで20だから、1969年、70年。1960、18からだともっとだな。1900何年だろう。
そんだけやってること
60ね、60
69年とか
じゃない、もっと前だ。
68とか67とか
67年ぐらいだ。67年ぐらいに仕事の勉強して、それでフルタイムになったのが昭和50年だから何年だろうな。
昭和50年って75年。
75年、で75年からフルタイムになって。
だったらもう43、もう42、
45年ぐらいになるのかな。
45年ですね。
うんうん、そのぐらいになります。
でこれからもずっとこれで。
いや、これしかできないから。これからしかできないから。
それは間違いないですね。それ以上の、それはもう
う
ね。
で、あとこれからはとにかく自分から何かをやろうっていうことはないと思います。とにかく
人に頼まれて一緒にやるっていう感じの。
はい。だからこういうふうなものにどういうふうなものをやってほしいかって、それに対してこちらから表現していくっていうことはできるかもしれない。
だったらどういう仕事を受けてるわけではなくて、竹内さんがそれを感じて一緒にやりたいなっていうところもあるんですよね。お金とかビジネスだけじゃなくて。
だからビジネスって考えたことないから、だから嫌なものはやらないし、好きな仕事はするし、
アーティストですよね。
だから
フルタイムアーティストですね。
で与えられたものに対しては必ず答えて、お客さんが要望しているものに対して答えて、お返しすると。で気に入っていただくと。
I carved a pair of knuckles, big full-size knuckles. I cast them in gold, solid gold, 18 karat gold, because Takeuchi, I wanted to do him 22, but 22 is too soft for him to work with.
金の
はいはいはいはい。
持ってきたんですけど。
これ竹内さん預かった時にすごい急いで仕事したいこと言ってませんでしたっけ？
いやだって
早く。
だって
この金塊を
そう返すって。そう。だから毎回終わると金庫入れてたん。
だってこれ持ちたくないですもんね。
持ちたくないですよね。
そう。
これ最初にいただいた時にはどう思いました？
いや、前に代官山で会った時にある程度の原型という形があったんですよ。
シルバーのやつですよね。あと銅のコッパーかなんか。
コパのやつ。コパーだったのかな。これで18金で作るんだって言われて、っつってって最初は思ってて、でもしばらく何も言ってこなかったから、でも今度作ったよって言われて送ってこられて見た時に、やっぱり自分なんかはアートというよりも金って見ちゃうと
金渡しじゃなくて宅急便で来たんですか？
はい。だからゴールドだから、ゴールドだから、そうするとこれいくらだろうと思って金額を考えた時にね、それとプラスリックの作品じゃないですか。だからこれ大変だった。でそれをこう見ながらイメージを作って、なるべく早く仕事をして、で多分これはでもトランクショーかなんか展示する1ヶ月ぐらい前だったのかな。だからそれでこれは早く仕事をしてとにかくお返ししなきゃっていうのが先ですよね。これは金をここに合わせて、掘り下げた部分に金を合わせて曲がりをつけて、それでここにピタッとはめ込む、合うように今ここにこう。
あとやっぱり24金がものすごく働きやすい素材ですね。
はい、そうです。私たちは24金。
どっちの方にそういう彫りとか金の埋め込みが綺麗に入るんですか？やっぱりステンレスの方が。
銀は入らないですよ。銀は造岩できない。ステンレスは造岩できる。
で銀は普通に彫ることはできるんですね。
はい。
けどやっぱりスチールの方が綺麗にこう
綺麗じゃなくて硬いから
エッジが出るような
金をはめ込むときに押さえるところがないと入らない。造岩はローズケースするしかないね、そういう場合は。
火使ってね。
だってジュエリー関係はリクのしかやってないよ。
ジュエリー関係はリクのみですか？で他のよくある
あとナイフとあと銃と。
でジュエリーやるのはどうですか？好きですか？
面白いですよ。
面白い。
A lot of times I use like a Dixie cup or whatever when I'm doing little work that requires me to have this brush like always making a point. I have it here because I have this nice edge here and I can make a good little point. I'm always, I'm heavy-handed, so I'm painting and these just snap. They got these little necks on them, so these brushes aren't good for me, even though like it's a pretty decent brush. It's decent. I think I'll just do it all in one drawing, but kind of get a little basic. This is a box that's, it's one of the boxes Rick has made by Gregg. That oftentimes he sells, you know, as they are, because they're already they're a total work of art as they are. But sometimes he have me custom paint them for a client, either specific to what they want or specific to whatever I want. So this one's kind of an open form. I've been kind of in a Art Deco mood the past few years, so I might tie something in off of that, and you know, that kind of a current influence. I met Rick on a road trip that I was taking with, we had a mutual friend, Chad, back in the BMX days. Anyway, we'd just all get together and take road trips out to contests and jams and stuff, and we were going to some kind of BMX contest.
We were on our way to a bicycle contest, a trick riding, a freestyle bike contest. Me and my buddies got flat tires in the middle of the 166, which is like you get abducted by UFOs out there kind of shit.
And one of the cars broke down, and we had to buddy up in my buddy Steve's car, and we had to share seats. So I had to basically ride with Rick. It was my first introduction to him.
We all had to cram into this guy's Pinto. Higgins has a picture of it. I think there was like 8 of us with our bikes. I was sitting on Higgins' lap. It was just nuts.
And I had to ride with him on my lap all the way to, you know, LA from Bakersfield or where we were going. And all he had was this yellow sweater. So I just started calling him Yellow Sweater, because for some reason immediately whatever you're wearing becomes your nickname back then. Especially if it was something as ridiculous as a yellow sweater, which is kind of was a bummer for him. It was a soft spot because that's all he got for Christmas from his parents.
That's the night I met Higgins.
Yeah, that's how I met him. That was my introduction to him. Art Deco 70s mom and halter, flipping off the kids. I'm rolling with it. So I'll just shrink it down and kind of redraw it from this half, I think.
I had seen his artwork from before, and I was always blown away by his characters. He's been doing that since I've known him. He's always had this his own slant on humor. It's always just been very Higgins. He's definitely a true original. That's why he's always been inspirational for me.
Well, the thing about the box is it's rad. They look good when they're done, but it's so hard to do. I have no idea why I like green light it. Like, yeah, I'll paint this knuckly box with gravel ditches all up in it, and sure, I'll commit to that. No prob. Not bright. Not bright at all. So I'm gonna try to figure out what transfer. Yeah, that's just so stupid to even agree to.
With his latest incarnation of what he does, taking the traditional pinstriping and merging it with Higgins' style, his characters and his sense of humor, merging those two, I think it's going to be real powerful, and I'm looking forward to some real near future collaborations on that stuff.
we've always been good collaborators, so whenever he has something going, he kind of brings me on board to, you know, to see what I can do with it or to get my input. Finish this thing up, actually. I'm stoked. Got this thing banged out. Looks good. I think I first started kind of understanding that it was something I really wanted to do, probably, you know, maybe when I was about 13 or 14, I would say. It was just a perfect fit for me. You know, I was artistically inclined. I was just kind of, you know, of course, like, you love drawing and stuff when you're a kid and you just keep doing it and doing it. And then, you know, that whole moment when it kind of hit me was probably around 14 or 13, when it was kind of transformative and I just really started doing it. It was just something, you know, I couldn't put down. Yeah, I just kind of realized it was the right thing. It was the perfect form of expression. It was helping me vent, you know, little frustrations I had at the time or whatever, or, you know, a good way to like laugh at my friends and make drawings of them. And that's kind of was the first attraction of it for me. It was just, you know, that ability to vent and laugh all at the same time.
I first came across the guys at Strider Knives in the mid-90s. I want to say it was 90, I think it was 95 or 96, and when I worked in my past life, when I worked somewhere else doing other stuff. And at the time, they only made fixed blade knives. They were super high quality steel. They were one-piece construction. I mean, most of them were pry bars with an edge. They were 1/4 inch thick, solid things that you could chop concrete and steel with. So military, law enforcement grade tools, basically.
It's been about 10 years now. Ric Maverick met Mick Strider, and right away they got along, and they started talking about different designs, knife designs, artwork.
When I came to work for Rick, realized what a knife nut he was. I knew that if I put my friend's company, Strider Knives, together with Rick at Starlingear, there would be something good that happened. There would be some cool stuff that happened there.
We'd sit and we'd talk for hours just about the craziest things. We both have like minds that'll get rolling down a track, and it's really fun. So we started doing some collaborations. He'd do artwork and we'd put it on the knives, different skulls, different beads, laser etching that looked like the beads, all different kinds of concepts and textures.
Jade and Josh came up with the idea of doing collaborations between, I think it started out just as a knife, or I did some artwork just for these little PT knives, these little tiny knives.
He's such a forward-thinking guy that any time we need any kind of artwork, we go to him, including the MSC line. He's done all of my artwork. He's done my logoing and everything. It's such an awesome collaboration. And it's so nice to be able to work with someone who you're like-minded with, and you're instantly on the same mind track.
When we made the first bead, and I showed it to them, they wanted to put it on their project they were doing for this one thing, and we stamped their logo on it. And when we did that bead for them and put it on that knife, Rick was like, "Hey, I want to do a knife with some artwork on it and laser the artwork on the blade. Do you think that they'd be down with that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't see why not." So we took a trip down to their place down in San Marcos and had a meeting, and they said, well, we have these knives, we can do it on this knife or that knife. So in the collab projects that we do, we very rarely do more than 20. In fact, I don't think we've ever done more than 20. Usually around 15 of them, just because one of the reasons is because the Strider knives are so hard to get a hold of. They're always selling out. They're in such high demand, just the knife by itself. Because of the limited availability and the quality of stuff that Rick comes up with, the designs that he puts on the knives and the bead that he puts with it, we're fortunate that they're a very sought after item, mostly for collectors. Some people use them. I mean, I use mine, but most people collect them and try to keep them pristine, but you can use them. I mean, they're built that way. So when we only make them available at shows. There are a couple of exceptions to that. We did one benefit knife for the tsunami relief in Japan a couple years back, and that one went to a good friend of ours. It was an open bid auction. All the money, the knife was donated, our stuff was donated. We didn't take any cut or cost out of it. Everything, all the money went to help the tsunami relief effort. And a good friend of ours, Frank, won the bid on that one, and so he has that knife.
That thing was amazing. It was honestly, it was brilliant to do a Japan-only knife because people in the States saw it and they just shit themselves. You know, you get a project like that you're not allowed to have, and if you're not allowed to have it, well, it's the greatest thing ever.
After we did that, Rick realized some of the capabilities of the laser, and what they could put on blades, and how actually durable it was, how it doesn't wear off, and I think that's what inspired him to keep designing and come up with new projects.
So this is the collaboration knife. This is the new one called the Frankie. And right now we're doing the fiber laser. So this is a 30-watt fiber laser, and it allows us to do the pull the color out to get some of the different shades that we can get out of the titanium. The runtime on this one is about 5 minutes. Then after these are all done, then I go back and I do the clips. One of the unique things about the Starlingear, when it's all done, the clips line up and give you a 3D effect. Clip. We started off with Strider doing some stuff for Josh, and then he brought us the first set and asked if we could do it, and that's where we started doing these. So this is where all of it happens, up here. Pull the cover off. So right here is the laser. You can see if I open the interlock, the laser lights. It's got a light bulb in here that shines the light that direction into the laser crystal. These are challenging. It gives me something new. We do a lot of stuff for Camp Pendleton, so I get lots of new stuff, things that I've never ran before. That's challenging, but these are just challenging on a totally different level because of the different aspects of it, the different shades, and the people that we deal with at Starlingear and Strider are, it's awesome. It's really awesome.
This is what the steel looks like when we get it in. We get it in sheets, and it's all US made steel. It weighs about 80 pounds. We water jet cut our blade blanks. So this is going from a sheet of steel to water jet cut blade blanks. Then the next step we'll do on our CNC machines is where we take the blade blanks and turn them into knife blanks, where we add the basic profile of it and the holes for the handles. So we're basically going from this to this on our CNC machine. This is the latest collaboration knife that we're doing with Starlingear. This is based on our SMF-CC folder. This is G10, titanium, and the blade itself is S30V steel. All US made product, all US made components.
They're just a solid tool, and there's actually a lot of things that go into the design of the folder that you don't really see and maybe you don't appreciate, and but it's there as far as shape of the handle, why it's angled this way, why it's cut here, why there's a choil up here on the blade, and on all those things go, why is it a frame lock versus a liner lock and different things, and why is the pivot so ridiculously big? But all those things were thought out by them, and things that Mick and Dwayne as well thought of when they were coming up with this stuff. Because it's so high quality, because it really is a good piece, it goes well with what we do at Starlingear as far as high quality, man-made, handmade, American-made stuff, and we like that about their company, and they like that about ours. So it's a good mesh, bringing their quality tools from their industry with our quality products from our industry, and putting them together when we can, which is a lot of fun, a lot of why we enjoy doing the collaboration projects. So we did the original artwork that Rick did for the first blade available in America, but we put it on a Tonto, one of the Tontos with the groove on the back, and I think we did 12 of these. It was a special edition, so that one I definitely held on to, keep that one. So this was an SMF size, larger knife, with the S-Gear and Strider logos all over it, carbon fiber, stripe on the blade, and then this was the SS bead, so it's Strider logo on one side, Starlingear logo on the other side, but it's a 3-part bead. Didn't make enough of them, but this one was one we also did. We did this knife, again, for the original USN gathering, which was in 2009 in Vegas. And then we did a USN, it's called a suspect knife for guys that are at a certain position in that form. So we put the USN logo on there, a custom ground blade, and then on the sheath, Gregg stamped it. He stamped the USN logo, the Starlingear logo, and the Strider logo as well. And all the sheaths that Gregg does have unique stamping, and he stamps them all by hand, so there's no two that are exactly alike. Of course, it helps to keep them in an SOE bag, keeps them handy.
I just love the Strider quality, the what they make. I mean, you can take one of those knives and put it through a fucking car door if you have to, and they just won't fail. They're just bitchin' knives that are just built to last. I would hope that my stuff is thought of as durable as theirs.
The vintage line started about 4 years ago, and I was getting into jewelry of my own, and Rick and I both had talked about doing something with his smaller beads, and he pretty much just gave me some slicksters and told me to go for it and just see what I could make as far as necklaces and bracelets. And it just all kind of started from there. I just started with some black agate and pyrite. Those are my favorite colors, and just kind of more natural tones, and showed the Japanese, and they ended up loving it, and really just expanded out from there. So it's probably been about 4 years now. We've just been creating new styles and trying to always stay up with fashion, but keep stuff fun, unisex, but feeling a little more edgy,
little rockerish. It's fun. It's not for the dainty soul, let's say that. It's definitely for someone who has a little more edge to them.
One of the things I like about what Brandy does is, with the vintage line, is that she takes time and researches different stones and I don't even know all the names, but all the agates, and she'll match it up with stones with different healing properties or whatever it is. And I don't understand the whole thing. She has a far better grasp of it, but she really takes the time and puts things together that work, and they look fucking cool.
As far as beads go, I didn't really know what the Japanese were gonna like, and I just tried to go with more natural, basically agate. Black agate was one of the best sellers because it's just a nice strong bead. It can be feminine or it can be masculine. Hematite is one of my favorite stones. It's a gray stone. It has a real nice, it's kind of shiny. It just has nice feel to it. It could be worn dressy. It could be worn casual. Green agate is one of my favorites. It has like a real mossy green look to it. So right now I'm in the middle of a pretty big order for Japan. It's for the 2014 trunk show, and I have about 125 pieces I'm working on, mostly bracelets and some necklaces. It's really inspiring when I go out to Japan and see all the customers out there wearing my stuff and layering and wearing it their own style, taking necklaces and wrapping them as bracelets. Definitely that's why I do it, because it's fun and I'm passionate about it and people enjoy it. And it's jewelry. Jewelry is supposed to make you feel good. It's supposed to just brighten up your day and make you smile and make you excited when you see something new. So. Rick creates on such a fast-paced level that I can barely sometimes keep up with him. He's constantly giving me, new beads, and I'm just sitting there going, what's next? What can I do with this, with this skull or this heart or whatever it is? And that's what's exciting about it, is that he has so many ideas that it keeps me really inspired to keep up with his pace and create on that level.
That whole smaller beaded kind of look has really come in, and we hit it right when it was just coming in. So we've done really well with it. It's a good addition to the line.
I'm a one-woman show. I sit here and I don't have workers helping me. I pride myself on making everything on my own. And when I get a 125-piece order and I go through the list, I know that I'm going to be sitting here working hard, making sure that each piece is done perfectly. I'm a perfectionist, and if something is just a tiny bit off, I start all over, and I do it. That's why I like to personally do everything myself, because I know it's done right, and it's gonna be up to my standards, basically.
I feel very fortunate to have an artistic platform to express my creative side, and I'm so grateful to be a part of Starlingear. The vintage line it's just begun, so who knows what the future holds for it.
So this is one of 5 drawers I have full of film shoots here. And this is the very first photo shoot I did with Rick As you can see, this is quite beat up. So what had happened was I was doing a photo shoot and it got canceled, and I had rented this camera. And I had nothing else to do. The shoot got canceled, so I just figured I'd call up Rick, see what he's doing. I went over there, had nothing to do, so I had this camera, so we just thought we'd fool around and start taking some shots, and that's how kind of the whole thing started.
I wore these Gabor, these 2 skull rings. That's before I had skull rings. And I'd always worn these 2 skull rings. And I remember standing on this, like, you know, air conditioning unit or whatever, and he's standing below me and the sky was all blue. And
we just put on like a fedora and a trench coat, and we just kind of went for it. We went on this rooftop and we just kind of fooled around with these different things, and these are some of the shots, but this is basically the very first rolls of film I shot, so you could say this was our first collaboration.
I'd always been fascinated with that kind of journalistic photography that, you know, that just catches candid moments. And I wanted to see if we could do that. Because I told Kimo from day one, I said, man, we're either going to document a crash and burn or we'll document the start of something cool.
2001 was the first time that we went to Japan together. And now it's over 30 times. I've lost count how many times, but it's definitely over 30. The only person's career I've ever documented from the beginning, and it's still going. We've done books, we've done 2 books, a bunch of smaller videos, and then since I moved into doing now more primarily video work, you know, this full-length documentary.
From day one, not only did we get along great, but his skill, I could see just, you know, just fitting right into where I was, because Starlingear hadn't even taken off yet. I had the name and all that stuff, but I didn't have a line of jewelry, and it wasn't this whole machine that it is now.
We get along real good. We always bounce ideas off of each other. He actually was the guy that taught me Photoshop, and the first beginnings of, like, when I started getting into photography and shooting and Illustrator and Photoshop and all that stuff. So that was, yeah, we go way back.
I personally look at Kimo as the second creative force in Starlingear behind myself, because he's just brought so much vibe to the whole deal.
Who knows where the next collaboration's gonna take place, but I'm sure it'll be interesting.
I really appreciate our collaborative works. Many more to come. I believe that there's now this burgeoning movement of people creating things and rediscovering that they can make things with their hands, and that's the foundation of Starlingear and the collaborations, and it's just hand-built. People's hands were on this. It's not made in some factory somewhere by some unknown guy that's ready to jump out of the window because he has to make so much. An important aspect of not only this country, but of living that we've lost so much touch of, because so much of it is push buttons now, that, you know, the only true way to have a sustainable economy is to have people that work with their hands. There is no sustainable economy with people that just push buttons. It ain't gonna work.
People that were fans of Ric's artwork and customers of the stuff that we make, they've all stayed with us on this journey that we've been on for as long as I've been involved in the company, for coming up on 11 years now. And that is sometimes overwhelming and awesome to see from my end of it. It is exciting to be a part of it, and I've been doing this longer than I've been doing any other career. or anything I went to school for or trained for. I don't think there's a college graduate amongst us. And we still find a way to make it work and have fun with it, which is a lot of fun.
Expressing yourself with the coolest, baddest, one-of-a-kind shit you could ever imagine, and have somebody walk up to you and say, where'd you get that? Who makes that? How do I get that? That blows me away every time. You think your name is significant with a brand that's in Japan, that's international now, that's created in the US, started by two guys that just trying to hang out, have fun, and enjoy life, and then come up with something that's a hit, and then take it to the next level. Why wear anything else when you're already wearing the best? Always confident, ready to knock a motherfucker out in a minute, and keep on rolling. Gotta love it.
Handmade, hand stuff, handcrafted, you know, cool stuff. It's just something that's lost, I think, or being lost, and that we hopefully are torchbearers, you know.